Have you ever wondered why some people just seem to build wealth effortlessly, while others are completely stuck, struggling year after year, even with a massive income? Well, welcome to This Explainer. Today we're diving deep into why pulling in a huge salary absolutely does not guarantee financial freedom, and we're looking at the surprising data that proves it. It's a super common assumption, right? That if you just earn more money, poof, all your financial stress vanishes. But as we're going to see in a second, the truth is actually entirely different.
Check out this staggering number. An astonishing 60% of people earning $200,000 or more report feeling like they're in pure survival mode, just living paycheck to paycheck. I mean, let that sink in for a second. We're talking about more than half of the folks bringing in $250,000 a year, and they're literally just waiting for that next direct deposit to drop so they can cover their basic obligations. That's wild.
So, this begs a pretty fascinating question. If more money isn't the magic cure for financial stress, what exactly is keeping these high earners completely broke? Well, the answer lies in these sneaky behavioral traps that we all fall into without even realizing it. Because honestly, it's rarely about the actual size of the paycheck. It is almost always about what we do the exact moment that cash hits our bank account.
So today, we're going to do a quick audit of your financial life. We're covering 6 key things. 1, the paycheck-to-paycheck trap. 2, toxic daily money habits. 3, the danger of lifestyle creep. 4, math versus behavior. 5, automating your wealth. And finally, 6, boring but profitable investing. Let's break down the behavioral traps keeping you stuck, and more importantly, the practical systems you can use to fix them.
All right, let's jump right into Section 1, the paycheck-to-paycheck trap, and why earning more just isn't enough.
Current data is showing us that a third of families bringing in 6 figures are struggling just to cover basic needs. That leaves absolutely zero margin for emergencies. We hear the term living wage a lot, which means having enough to afford life's basic necessities. But when you're caught in the paycheck-to-paycheck cycle, you can barely pay those basic bills, let alone save for a rainy day. High earners theoretically have way more wiggle room, but the reality, a lot of them don't realize how precarious their situation is until they're literally running on fumes, locked into huge mortgages and expensive car payments they just cannot maintain.
And that brings us to Section 2, toxic daily money habits. These are the quiet wealth killers.
The main culprit keeping you broke usually isn't one giant catastrophic event. It's actually our daily repetitive financial behaviors. These rapid-fire toxic habits quietly eat up hundreds of dollars every single month. Think about it. A lot of people know exactly how much they earn, right? But very few know exactly where all that money goes. Skipping a monthly budget, swiping credit cards for things you should have seen coming, paying for subscriptions you totally forgot about. It all just compounds into silent financial chaos. And worse, ignoring emergency savings. Life is unpredictable. Cars break down, roofs leak. Without an emergency fund covering 3 to 6 months of expenses, you're forced to rely on high-interest loans whenever life happens, which just creates this immense, crushing financial pressure.
It really all boils down to this one harsh truth. Looking rich and becoming financially secure are two very, very different goals. One of the absolute fastest ways to completely derail your wealth building is financing luxury items purely to impress other people. So many of us finance expensive cars or upgrade perfectly good phones every single year just to look successful. But true financial confidence, that doesn't come from keeping up appearances. It comes from knowing your bills are paid and your future is genuinely secure.
Trying to project that wealth directly feeds into Section 3, the danger of lifestyle creep, which is exactly what happens when luxuries suddenly become needs. Here's the crucial point. As your income goes up, things that used to be considered rare splurges, well, they psychologically morph into absolute necessities. This is lifestyle creep in a nutshell. As you earn more, your baseline standard of living just naturally rises. You start dining at nicer restaurants more often, buying premium brands, or feeling this weird pressure to keep up with your coworkers. And it's almost always fueled by that very common, very dangerous thought, hey, I work hard, I deserve this.
But the math can so easily turn against you here. If you get a raise but immediately inflate your lifestyle so much that your new expenses actually outpace your new earnings, you are actively moving backward. Just picture this. Let's say your monthly salary increases by $1,500. Awesome, right? But because you upgraded your car and moved to a fancier apartment, you're actually spending $3,000 more each month. By the end of just one single year, you'll be $18,000 in debt. So mathematically, you are way worse off than you were before you even got the promotion.
To combat this trap, we really have to bridge a massive gap in how we think about personal finance. Let's look at Section 4, math versus behavior, and these two competing philosophies.
Take a look at the contrast between Dave Ramsey's tough love behavioral focus and the Boglehead's strictly data-driven strategy. The Bogleheads focus heavily on low-cost index investing, which is driven purely by the math of market returns. On the flip side, Dave Ramsey focuses intensely on changing human behavior, getting out of debt and regulating your emotions. The fascinating thing is, both of these massive personal finance movements are trying to solve the exact same problem. They're just attacking it from totally different angles.
And that's because personal finance is really 90% behavior and only 10% math. While the math behind building wealth is honestly incredibly simple, managing your own emotional behavior, like actively avoiding lifestyle creep and staying out of debt, is the true battleground. Engineer types might assume the behavioral part is easy, right? Just run the numbers and follow them. But for most of us, controlling those spending impulses, not panicking when the stock market dips, and resisting the urge to buy things we really don't need, that is significantly harder than calculating compound interest.
So, if human temptation is the core problem, this is the ultimate solution. Moving on to Section 5, automating your wealth. Basically, saving you from yourself.
You can literally protect yourself from your own worst impulses by setting up these 3 simple steps to automatically route a chunk of your paycheck into savings before you even have a chance to look at it. First, pick a goal, say building that emergency fund. Second, choose the right account. You want this physically separated from your daily checking account to kill the temptation to spend it. And finally, set a recurring transfer amount and a schedule, whether it's $25 a week or 10% of your paycheck. This system does the heavy lifting for you, because let's be real, if you wait until the end of the month to save whatever happens to be left over, it is just not gonna happen.
Once your money is safely automated and your emergency fund is built, you need to put it into the market. This brings us to Section 6, boring but profitable investing. The amazing power of index funds.
Okay, look at this massive number, 90% plus. This represents how many actively managed mutual funds, the ones run by highly paid financial advisors, actually underperform a standard passive index fund over a 20-year period. Over 90%. That means if you're paying some sharp-suited advisor crazy high fees to try and beat the market, the overwhelming statistical probability is that they are going to fail over the long haul.
Trying to pick individual winning stocks or find some genius advisor is frankly a statistical illusion. In fact, the financial data proves a pretty harsh reality. The only performance that reliably persists is poor performance. If an actively managed fund happens to be in the top 25% of its category one year, its chances of actually staying there over the next few years totally plummets. The hard part isn't finding funds that beat an index in the past, it's finding the incredibly rare ones that will actually pull it off in the future.
Because at the end of the day, wealth isn't built through thrilling, stressful stock picks. It's built through the boring, patient, and highly profitable consistency of low-cost index investing. Active investing brings high fees and emotional decisions that just heavily drag down your returns. But passive investing, the strategy popularized by Vanguard founder John Bogle, it relies on rock-bottom fees and boring consistency. You are just capturing the guaranteed return of the market as a whole, which mathematically beats those highly paid stock pickers 9 times out of 10. You just set it, you forget it, and you actually get to sleep peacefully at night.
Since financial success usually starts with just a single, small decision today, I want to leave you with this thought to kickstart your own journey. Look closely at your own life. Are you spending money just to impress other people? Are you letting your lifestyle creep up with every single raise you get? Remember, consistency almost always beats perfection. You don't have to change your entire life today. You just need to improve one step at a time. So, what is one small money habit you can improve this week? Think about it, take some action, and let's start breaking that paycheck-to-paycheck trap for good.